Hello students, welcome back to the Pharmaceutics 1, Unit 5, Semi-Solid Dosage Forms, Part 3 and the last one. Now, in the previous lectures of this particular semi-solid dosage forms, we have seen what are semi-solid, what are the various examples, ointment bases, and various ointment bases along with the advantages, disadvantages we have seen. Now, coming to the preparation of ointments. How do we prepare the ointment? Ointment can be prepared by 4 methods. These includes number 1, the titration method, number 2, fusion method, number 3, chemical reaction method, and number 4, emulsification method. What are the 4 methods? Trituration method, fusion method, chemical reaction method, and emulsification method. Now, what is this trituration method? As the name indicates, triturate, mix. Take a what is called as a slab and a spatula or a mortar and a pestle and prepare your ointment. Now, in this method, what you are going to do? First, take the drug, powder the drug. So, finally, powdered drug was taken. It is added to the required quantity of the ointment base. Okay, or you take your ointment bases into 2 parts. To half of the part, you add your drug. Now, after mixing these two together, add remaining quantities of the base and any liquid ingredients are present on a slab and mix with the spatula. Now, what are the drawbacks of this particular method? The only simple drawback is that when we are going to use this the slab and the spatula or a mortar and a pestle, ointment for improper mixing of the ointment will be there, and the ointment is going to stick to the spatula and to the sides of the mortar. Okay, now in our lab we are going to prepare a simple ointment with this particular technique itself. Your simple ointment, sulfur ointment, Whitfield's ointment, which contains benzoic acid, is prepared by this simple technique using the various ointment bases like wool fat, cetosterol alcohol, hard paraffin, and white soft paraffin. Now, the second method and the most commonly used method where we are going to use a mixture of all ointment bases is the fusion method. Now, in the fusion method, as the name indicates, fusion means you are going to heat. Okay, heat all the materials before you mix, because we have some solid materials and at the same time we have some liquid materials. Now, what is the step 1? Step 1 is the solids of different ointment bases or the ingredients like white beeswax, stearic acid, hard paraffin and cetyl alcohol are taken and they are melted in descending order of their melting point. Now, in another beaker or another container, take all the liquid ingredients and heat to the same temperature as you are heating the solid bases. Now, once you are going to heat these two at the same temperature, you have to ensure that overheating of the ingredients is not there. Okay, and now you add your liquid ingredients in the step 3 to the solid melted materials and mix uniformly. After mixing uniformly, slowly stir the solution and don't cool the solution rapidly. No rapid cooling and no vigorous stirring is required here. Otherwise, it simply leads to separation of the ointment base to one side and the drug to other side, or solids to one side and the liquid bases to the other side. So therefore, you ensure that you mix it slowly, uniformly, no rapid cooling and no vigorous stirring when the ointment has just started to thicken. Now, examples of the bases what you are going to use in the fusion method is you are going to prepare examples of the ointments like wool alcohol ointment, citramide ointment, and coal tar ointment, calamine and coal tar ointment. Fusion method name indicates heat the material, divide your solid materials to one side, liquid materials to the other side. Take all these solids into one beaker or a container, heat these two at the same temperature. You are going to heat at the same temperature. Add the liquid base heat material into solid material or the waxes which were melted and stir slowly, uniformly, so that and at the same time no rapid cooling. Now, these are the various ointments which you are going to prepare by this particular method. Now, chemical reaction method. As the naming it, you are going to perform a chemical reaction. One particular example of the ointment which is prepared by the chemical reaction is iodine ointment, which is mainly used to treat ringworm infections in cattle. Now, how do you prepare? We know that iodine is sparingly soluble in vegetable oils and fats, but it is readily soluble in concentrated potassium iodide and water, because it is going to form polyiodides. Okay, so in the similar here also you take those things, prepare your iodine, see that it is soluble in potassium iodide. Now you can also take these particular iodine, potassium iodide with water, and where you add certain amount of alcohol and glycerin, and then add these two non-volatile liquids. Okay, must be selected for uniform distribution of the medicament, otherwise your iodine crystals will crystallize. Okay, so then later you incorporate your total iodine, potassium iodide containing your water, alcohol, glycerin, all these things into absorption type bases. Okay, and the next, emulsification method. In this method, what you are going to do, you are going to heat the fats, oils and waxes together at a temperature of 70 degrees. Simultaneously, you heat your water in another beaker and add your water solution slowly to the melted bases with stirring. Okay, so this is emulsification. That means you are going to prepare a certain type of an emulsion itself, which is used in the for your ointment. Take all your fats, oils and waxes, heat at 70 degrees. Simultaneously heat the water in another beaker and add the water solution slowly to the melted bases with the stirring and cool the prepared ointment. Now, apart from these things, what are the additives we are going to add in the ointments? So till now we have taken our drug. First thing, to the drug we have added our ointment bases. Apart from the ointment bases, what are the other things we add? We add preservatives. Preservatives is a must because all these ointments contain certain amount of water, and we know that water is a favorable growth for the bacteria and contaminations. So therefore add a proper preservative which can prevent both gram-positive and gram-negative microorganisms. Now, antioxidants. We know that since it is in a water-based and oils are present, oxidation of these things, of the oils will take place. Therefore, to prevent this, we are going to add antioxidants like citric acid, sodium bisulfate, sodium metabisulfate. Now, the other ingredient, chelating agents. Chelating agents we add because we want to interact the metals with the chelating agents, otherwise which is going to be toxic for the ointment. So for chelating the metals, we are going to add chelating agents. Perfumes to give a good smell to the product. Humectants, nothing but which will retain the moisture, like glycerin, propyl glycol, we are going to act as a humectants. So these are some of the additives which we are going to add in the ointment, and all these additives we have discussed at the topic of whenever we are going to prepare the liquid dosage forms. So recollect that and add the appropriate examples here. Now, what are the evaluation tests generally we do for the ointments? In similar to the suppositories, we are going to use the appearance, physical appearance we are going to see, and the second thing is we are going to see the release of the drug, the what is called as you are going to press the container, how fast it is going to, spreadability test you are going to do. Okay, and the third thing what you do is the drug content, how much of the drug is present per gram or of your ointment. In vitro release studies also we do, along with some penetration studies using some animal skin ex vivo models. So these are the evaluation tests. So here we have discussed in brief about what are the various methods for preparing the ointment and what are the various additives that are used in the ointments along with the evaluation test. Okay, now when it comes to the semi-solid dosage forms, so if anything is asked, like write a note on semi-solid dosage forms and their basis, it is nothing but you are going to write what is the semi-solid dosage forms. You are going to define what are semi-solid dosage forms. give an examples of the semi-solid dosage forms there, and then you are going to tell that you are going to prepare the semi-solid dosage forms using some bases. List out all the bases as we have listed out at the ointment bases, because these are the bases which will be used for all the semi-solid preparations, like it may be an ointment or it may be a gel or it may be a paste. Okay, most of the bases will be very similar. Write about the bases followed by the various additives whichever we are going to use. Thank you. And these